what does the past have to do with the future? I mean, really, think about it. What happened then in the past is what happened then. It doesn't dictate the future. Live your faith, build your business, and change your world. This is Live, Build, Change. Welcome back to Live, Build, Change. I'm Carey Green, and we are here to live your faith, build your business, and change your world and the world of many other people, hopefully. And if you're very curious about what I mean by that, you probably haven't listened to the 0 episode. I encourage you to go back and listen to it. You can find it at livebuildchange.com/0. And that gives you kind of the overview of what this show is all about. Today, I want to talk to you about the power of momentum and what momentum can do for your income, for any business ideas you have, and for your life. And I want to start out by telling you a story from my childhood. My dad worked for a company that leased a ranch in Colorado every summer for employees to be able to go and enjoy. And we lived in the Panhandle area of Texas at the time. And so every summer, we would take a week and we would go up to this ranch where they had horses and they had Jeeps and they had camping of various sorts. My dad had a big pickup camper on the back of his truck. And we would go and we would stay the week. And sometimes my dad would allow my brother and I to bring a friend along. And this particular year, I think my brother and I both had a friend in tow, and we had gone and we had been riding horses and hiking all around and fishing and all of those things that boys love to do when you're out in the woods. And this one particular day, we were walking through the camp area and we discovered this big iron wagon wheel that was lying around. It was some sort of the ambiance of the place. They had it laying around just kind of as decoration. And we took that thing and pushed it up a hill right beside where all the RV hookups and campers were. And we pushed it up as high as we could get it, the four of us working on it. I remember that thing being really, really heavy. And we did so thinking we would just roll it down the hill and watch it and see how far it would go. Well, that was a great idea until we actually got the thing rolling. We released it at the top of the hill, and the wagon wheel began churning down the hill. It was headed right where we had pointed it, over toward this field. But somewhere along the line, it hit a rock or a log or something, and it jumped and started on a new path. And from where we were standing, we could see that it was headed right for the outhouse that served the entire campground area. And it wasn't just, like a porta potty. It was an old wooden outhouse that looked like, it could fall over at any minute. And here's this big iron wagon wheel rolling down the hill at top speed, headed for the outhouse. And we all start running down the hill, screaming and yelling, trying to somehow divert the wheel from its collision course. And somewhere right before it got down to where the outhouse was, it hit another rock and missed the outhouse by just inches. And we were just laughing for days about that. What would have happened if someone had been in the outhouse and all those kinds of things. But what happened with that wagon wheel was, we didn't think about the power of momentum. We thought for sure it'd be fun to watch the thing roll down the hill. But we didn't think about what would happen as it picked up speed, and it gained more speed and more speed, because even if we had caught up with that thing, which was entirely impossible, that wagon wheel would have been impossible to stop because of the momentum that the weight of that thing, along with gravity, had caused to happen with that thing. And so the point is, momentum is a powerful thing. And I'm using the word momentum when I refer to your business in a different sort of a way, because it's not about gravity, is it? It's not about speed, is it? It's about progress. And getting started with some kind of side income producing opportunity is the first step in starting to build momentum. It's like pushing the wagon wheel, that first little push down the hill. It's getting you moving from the state that you're in right now, which may be an okay state. You may have a job that provides for your needs and maybe then some. But if you're going to build side income, which can help you to pay off debt, can help you to pay off medical bills, can get some savings in place or an emergency fund, or even set up for things you need in the future, like a new car that you know is coming or college that you're going to be paying for your kids. I mean, you've got to start somewhere, right? And the power of momentum is something you need to understand can be a great ally, a great asset for you as you begin this journey of building side income or building a business. And it starts with you taking action. And so in the last episode, I told you about a lot of different options, a lot of different opportunities where you could go onto the internet and you could find ways to start producing income for yourself almost right away. And I want to ask you, have you done anything with that? If you haven't listened to that particular episode, that was Live, Build, Change episode number 12. You can find it at livebuildchange.com/12. And if you haven't done anything with that list, I want to ask you a real simple question. Why not? Why not? Why haven't you taken the first step to start seeking a way that you can build side income? Now, I understand there are elements or aspects to life that have to do with this. I mean, sometimes it's an issue of you just don't have time right now. I mean, your business is, whatever business it is that you work in, is maybe in the busy season of the year, or you don't have any time. But I want to challenge you on that issue. I hear that a lot, and I even thought that a lot at a certain point in my life, that I just didn't have time. But I want to ask you some penetrating, maybe even convicting questions about that. Are there times that you sit down and binge on Netflix? Are there times where you are sitting watching a football game? Are there times where you're piddling around in the garage, not really doing much, but you're just kind of messing around? Now, I'm not one of those people who says you should not have downtime. In fact, I think you really need to have downtime. And I'll cover that in one of these episodes of Live, Build, Change. But the point I'm making is this. A lot of people say they don't have time, but it's that they don't have time that they want to dedicate to the kind of thing I'm talking about. You see, they have time for the Netflix binge. They have time to play video games with buddies. They have time to go out with their friends after the workday and spend time just goofing off. But when it comes to this kind of thing, where you're putting in effort to build something for the long haul, something that's going to take time, something that's going to be hard to build, they often will say they just don't have the time. And I'm just pointing out that you do have the time. You're just choosing to use it somewhere else. Now, it's possible that some of you who are listening really don't have the time at this season in your life. And I'm okay with that. That's a fine thing. But the action you can be taking is educating yourself. You could be thinking about different business ideas. You could be listening to podcasts like this one, like Smart Passive Income, like others that are out there to help you get your brain around what this is like to dedicate yourself to building side income. Because I am here to tell you, both from what I've observed and from my own experience, you can build side income. You can. You can do it in the evening hours. You can do it late at night when the rest of your family is already in bed. But you've got to start that momentum rolling one way or another. And you've got to do it sooner rather than later. Because what I've learned in this kind of thing is the longer you put it off, the more of an issue it becomes. The longer you wait, the more likely you are to not start some sort of side income. Because life happens, because busyness happens, because excuses come up in your mind and convince you that you really don't have the time, or you don't have the energy, or you can't do it. And I'm here to tell you that is simply not true. I want to encourage you to take advantage of this thing we call momentum. Because once you get rolling with side income, once you get rolling, seeing some money coming in and some bills starting to get paid off and some medical debt being taken care of, once you begin seeing an emergency fund come into being that never was there before, you start to see in your own spirit this encouragement starting to happen. You start seeing yourself becoming a little more optimistic. You start seeing what's possible down the road. And you won't see it if you don't ever get started, because it's part of this emotional momentum that happens as you get a business rolling. And as you see that income coming, you get encouraged inside. You start having more of a can-do attitude than a I don't have time attitude. You start seeing the possibilities of what might be something that could happen in your future. It's an interesting thing. You're not able to see as far down the road now as you will a month from now if you start moving. It's just like any kind of journey. The more steps you take, the further down the road you can see. And as you get down that road of building side income or building a business for yourself, you start seeing the possibilities that are down the road that you didn't even know were there before. But they don't come into view until you start moving. This episode about momentum is to point out to you, first of all, that momentum exists in situations like this, and it comes in the form of encouragement. It comes in the form of successes that then breed confidence that then brings about further success. But it also comes in the form of just encouragement to your own soul about the opportunities and the possibilities that are out there for you. I know a lot of people who have this mindset that that's just not the way their life is. They just are the kind who gets by paycheck to paycheck. They're the kind who it's just never been that way for them. But let me ask you a really simple, logical question if you're thinking along those lines. What does the past have to do with the future? I mean, really, think about it. What happened then in the past is what happened then. It doesn't dictate the future. It doesn't place in you some sort of irreversible trait or trend that's going to lead you in the exact same types of paths again. You are a dynamic being. You are a being that grows and changes, and God has made you that way. You don't have to remain static. You can choose right now that you are going to make a difference. And let me warn you about a few things that happen. As you start pushing that wheel of progress, you start trying to get the momentum going, you're going to experience resistance. I remember my brother and I and our friends pushing that wagon wheel up the hill. Man, those first couple of pushes up that hill were discouraging. I mean, it was harder than we thought it would be because it's a big steel or iron wagon wheel. I mean, that thing was heavy. And we almost gave up a time or two, but one of my friends, my brother's friend actually, his name was Randy. Randy wouldn't let us give up. He just kept saying, no, come on, we can do this. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep pushing. And as we did push, we got that wheel to the top of the mountain, and the momentum could then get started. And when you get started trying to build ways of side income, whether it's driving deliveries for your local pizza place or doing something online, you are going to feel resistance. And that resistance will come in all kinds of forms. It'll be in laziness. I've had a hard day at work. I don't want to sit at the computer this evening and work on things. But you're going to have to overcome that if you're going to get your momentum rolling. That resistance will come in the form of discouragement from past failures, or when you've tried something similar to what you're thinking about doing and it didn't work out. Well, a failure is only a failure if you don't try again. It's like riding your bicycle when you're a kid. You fell so many times trying to learn that careful balance that a bicycle requires in order to get you going down the road, because you not only have to balance, you have to have momentum. See, there's that word again. You have to have momentum to keep you rolling and to keep you balanced. Starting your own side business, your own means of side income, is going to be very similar. They're the same elementary principles, the same basic ways of thinking and persevering and pushing forward that you had to practice when you learned to ride a bike, that you're going to have to apply to starting some sort of side business. And I think the problem for a lot of us is, as we become adults, we've had more failures, we've had more hard knocks, we've had more opportunities that we tried and did not succeed at. And so there's more likelihood that we've got more discouragement in our own souls. But I want to encourage you, you are not your failures. Said another way, your failures do not define you. Really, what is a failure? It's only a failure if you let it be a failure, because you get to learn from that opportunity, you get to grow from that opportunity, and you get to try again, adjusting things based on what you've learned. And so it's really an opportunity, not a failure. But you'll never get the momentum rolling that can take you to bigger things if you don't get started. You've got to start that wheel rolling. You've got to start yourself researching, learning, looking into the different opportunities, and finally choosing one that you're going to try. And I'll tell you, it's not going to be perfect the first time. It's not going to be easy the first time. Don't fool yourself. You got to prepare your mind that it's going to be hard at points, and it's going to have obstacles, and it's not going to be easy income. You hear things on the internet all the time about quick and easy or passive income, and there is a sort of passive income you can build, but keep in mind, you've got to build it. It doesn't just happen. It takes a lot of hard work on the front end to make it worthwhile, where it does generate a passive sort of stream of income. I want to encourage you just to get your head around that concept that this is going to be hard, but it's going to be so worth it. Live Build Change is here to help you think that through and to help you get encouraged in your own spirit that you can do this. God has made you a creative person, a person who has the ability to accomplish great things. You know, an interesting thing I've noticed in the scripture, and strangely enough, it's in the Tower of Babel story, you know, in Genesis, where the people start building this tower up to heaven, and they want to make a name for themselves, and they want to build this thing up to sky so they'll be remembered. And when God sees what's going on, it's very interesting what God says. Even though he's not pleased with their motives for why they're doing what they're doing, he says something very affirming to them as human beings. He says, we're going to have to go down there, and he's talking to the Son in the Spirit, is what I believe. He's having this conversation among the Trinity. He's saying, we need to go down there and confuse their language. And listen to what he says. Because if they continue like this, there is no end to what they might accomplish. There's no end to what they might accomplish. What does that say about who God has created us to be? Being in his image, he has made us into incredibly creative, incredibly hardworking, incredibly capable beings. We're bigger and better and smarter than the monkeys. You don't see any dogs making cars. You don't see cats weaving clothing. I mean, just look at the differences. We, as human beings made in God's image, are amazingly capable. We need to get it into our heads that no matter what life has dealt to us, no matter the difficulties or hardships we faced, no matter the failures or things we've tried that didn't work, we still, because of the virtue of who we are as human beings, have this capacity for building, for creating, for subduing the creation to our will. And so that brings me to the final question. What do you really want? Do you really want to change your life? Do you really want to do the things that can build side income and bring about a different sort of a legacy for your family? I hope you do, because I believe God has more in store for you than you might think he does. God wants you to learn how to use that God-given creativity that is in you, that perseverance, that mind that is so powerful and can be determined and strong to accomplish great things. God wants you to learn how to apply those things in greater ways so that you can see your future and the future of others, being your wife, your husband, your children, your grandchildren, seeing their lives changed as well, because you decide to start pushing that wagon wheel. You decide to start the momentum rolling. And once that momentum gets going, it is going to be so powerful because you're going to receive encouragement from the results that you see happening. You're going to start seeing possibilities and opportunities that you didn't see before because you weren't moving yet. And as you get moving and you get down the road, you see more that's possible. Ask yourself that question. What is it that you want? Do you really want a better future for yourself, for your children, for your grandchildren? And even so, beyond that, to people you can bless through these great opportunities God may give to you. You'll never know if you don't get started. You'll never know what He might want to do if you don't get the momentum rolling. And it's all up to you. It really is. It's entirely up to you. I would love it if you would share your thoughts with me in the Live, Build, Change community. And you can find out more about the Live, Build, Change community at livebuildchange.com/FB. You'll be asked for your email address, and you'll be sent the link to ask to join the Live, Build, Change community. And then you'll find a group of people in there who are interacting about living their faith, building their business, and changing their world. And I want you to go in there and find the post where this episode of the podcast is. This is episode number 13. And leave your comments about this. What are the challenges to you getting started in building a business that can start to generate side income or full-time income eventually? What are the obstacles you're facing? Let us pray for you. Let us encourage you. Let us tell you our stories to give you hope that you can do the same sort of thing. Let us be part of the journey with you to help you keep that wagon wheel of momentum rolling in your life once you get it started. Please come join us at the Live, Build, Change community, livebuildchange.com/FB. And as we close up the episode here, I want to ask you the same thing I ask you every week. And if you have done this before, thank you so much for being confident in what God's doing through the Live, Build, Change movement. And thank you for helping other people get the confidence they need to begin seeing changes happen in their own life and in their own legacy. And I want to ask you to do it again. I want to ask you to think about someone that you know could benefit from the things you're hearing here on the Live, Build, Change podcast. And don't just blast out about Live, Build, Change on Facebook, though you can do that if you want. But think of that one person. Prayerfully think of who it is you should share this episode with. And then on the device you're listening on, whether it's your computer, it's your phone, whatever, there is a way built in right there that you can share this episode of the podcast. Would you do that? Send it via text, send it via email directly to that person that you prayed about and that you've thought of who could benefit from this content. And then put in a little word of why you're sending it to them. Make it personal, because a personal invitation is a powerful thing, and you could impact someone for the long term by giving them the tools, giving them the encouragement that they need in order to get the momentum rolling in their own life, just like you're starting to get it rolling in yours. And I want to thank you for listening to Live, Build, Change. You're part of an important movement that's going on here, and I'm excited to hear your stories. Please let me know any way that I can help. You can reach me at Carey at livebuildchange.com. Now it's time to go and live your faith, build your business, and change your world. I will talk to you tomorrow in the Morning Mindset Edition.